Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the free coaching call in the Facebook group. In this call, I am going to be just coaching people for free all the way through May. And I wanted to give a quick shameless plug because I'm also currently in a launch. And I really think that you guys seeing the way that my coaching style works is really helpful for you to decide if working with me is a good fit. And I just want to give you like a few quick things about the mastermind before we get coaching. And then I know that Michelle and Alonka have things they want to continue to get coached on. And Janae and Kylie, if you want coaching too, raise your hand and I've got you. So today within this launch, we have the 6-figure scaling mastermind is currently open for enrollment. If you are thinking about joining us, we would love to have you. Ilonka and Michelle are both in this program. And within the program, the differentiator between that and 5-figure foundation is we talk about a little bit more high level stuff. We talk about doing webinars one-to-many. We talk about email lists. We talk about you creating intellectual property to eventually potentially create a group. And so it's just a little bit more high level. We're also focusing on getting you around 2 to 3 clients a month. So you're able, if you're a one-on-one coach, to be able to cross that 6-figure mark within a 12-month period. If you are at a group level, it obviously is going to be more than 2 to 3 clients a month, but we'll be talking about how to build up that audience of yours, how to get in front of new audiences, and that is the focus of the mastermind. So if you sign up for the mastermind before tomorrow night at midnight, you get a one-on-one double your income call with me, which is going to be awesome because this is the last time I'm offering a double your income call. Obviously, maternity leave is going to change my availability, so one-on-one calls might not be as viable after maternity leave. So I want to get you in if you're thinking about it. And if you sign up before May 10th, which is next Sunday, you are also going to be able to get 5-figure foundation included. So you'll get 2 programs for the price of 1, which is pretty jazzy. Now, with that being said, we go over a lot of higher level stuff, and this is kind of perfect that I have at least Kylie, I'm not sure what you want coaching on, but I have Michelle getting some high level coaching on creating an email sequence with a freebie, and Alonka, I am sure that you've got some other high level stuff going on too. And then Kylie also probably has some high level stuff going on as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. And Michelle, if you want to give a recap of at least one of your awesome wins, and then we'll get into making your freebie and email sequence.
Of course, I've already forgotten my wins. We got a lot of stuff done outside the house, and I feel really good about that. I dealt with a situation with my mother that could have turned really bad, but it went really well instead. So there's 2 wins.
Love it. Let's keep it going and continue talking about your freebie. Now, for those of you that are in 5-figure foundation, I don't think having an email list or an email sequence or a freebie, any of that is necessarily necessary. However, as you are thinking about scaling to 6 figures, building up an email list, having freebies, I do think is a necessity. And the cool thing about Michelle is I have an additional training on this in the mastermind, but she has a Facebook group. And within that Facebook group, the benefit of having a Facebook group is you can get people's emails when you join in. And so Michelle is already asking, and how many people are in your Facebook group? You've got like a ridiculous amount.
263.
263 people. 263 awesome humans who could absolutely use your coaching. And you have a freebie that's going out this week. What is that freebie?
It's the trigger response plan. And it's something that I used in a webinar that I had done, I think, a year ago. But I created that. And so we're just going to use it again for this month because it just seems like the time to do it.
It does indeed. And I think that like taming your trigger response plan is going to, and for anyone that doesn't know Michelle, again, this is being live streamed in the Facebook group. But if anyone who doesn't know Michelle, and obviously she's not on the Instagram right now, she has a program where she helps women overcome narcissistic abuse. In her program, Heal You, Heal Your Kids. And so I think that having a trigger response plan in your narcissist Facebook group is going to be epic. So helpful for them. So so here's how I like to do a 3 email sales sequence. And I'm sorry, I'm like monopolizing our combo, but I feel like it'll be.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. So we are discussing how Michelle can create a trigger response plan email sequence for a freebie that she has for her list this month. People are asking questions in the live, Michelle. We got people going, which is exciting.
Awesome. That's good. I can't see it.
It's all good. I was like, so within your trigger response plan, the way I like to do a freebie email sequence, and there's a whole training in the additional systems. If you go to freebies, I'll put it in. I'll put it in the chat here. But what I like to do for my 3 email freebie sequence is I do the first email is saying, hey, here's your freebie. Second email, giving a segue from freebie to program. It's very similar to like how we do webinars. Is like you have the one pillar and then you break it. You almost have like a subset of one pillar that we do the webinar about. Then you break down and you're like, here's the bigger pillar, here's the bigger reason. And then the next thing is, here's the big program and here's why it's important. So first one, here's your freebie and why it's important. And sometimes you can ask a question in there if you want. Totally up to you. Then zoom out from freebie. And then for the second email in the sequence, and then you say, here's the freebie, here's the importance of it. And then talk about the bigger pillar and get a little bit into the program. And then have a small PS testimonial. You can also include in this one your story and why it's important for you. And then the third email in the freebie email sequence is a client case study or testimonial.
Okay.
So any questions about that so far?
That makes total sense. And yeah, you just kind of are drawing them along into why they would want to work with you.
Yes, it is awesome. So I love this.
Cool. And I figured out how to do automation in Kit, so I'm feeling like the bomb.
Yeah, you are. Let's go.
Because I struggled with that for like 6 months.
Yes, and I think that honestly is so helpful to like, because once you do it once, then you know how to do it. The first time is always the hardest. But then it gets so much easier as you go through. And Kylie put in the chat, can you repeat the third email purpose? The third email purpose is to get them to book a consult. So it's a client case study or testimonial and getting people to book a consult. And what you can do in each of the 3 email sales sequences, in the example, and I'll put this in the chat for you guys, in the one that I have is like the freebie sales sequence for freebie. I'm going to put this in the chat, but this is also, I put in the first email, P.S. I run a 6-month one-on-one coaching program, Heal You, Heal Your Kids. If you're thinking about working with me right away, after just even seeing the trigger response plan as my freebie, I would love to talk with you about how working together one-on-one would help you with your triggers and so much more. Sign up for your consult here. And then the second one, it's all about like, this is the importance of the freebie, and this is how we're going to zoom out to like why I started this program, book a consult. And then the last one's like, and this is your last chance it's like, I'll obviously be keeping in touch with you more about this consult, but if you like, I could share your story and be like, it's like, if you are even thinking about it, the consult is free. And let me tell you what doing a consult with me a year and a half ago did for Michelle. She had her business for a while. She wasn't bringing in consults like she wanted. And then we started working together, and she's brought in consults monthly and signed clients consistently since we started working together. If that's the case for you, I'd love to work with you. So does that make sense as far as like, so it's like, P.S. work with me for the first email 2, selling consult harder and selling consult hardest, and then say, PS consults are open. Like, you can give them an out like we do in our DM templates, and be like, and if you don't book a consult now, that's totally fine. You'll still get a ton of value in the Facebook group. Blah. Blah.
Blah.
She's
there
like,
it is.
elegantly, right? But I love it. How to make a freebie email sequence.
So good.
There's a whole training on it. But that's what I just wanted to touch on that, because I know we were like finishing that up in the in our scaling call right before this. So if you want me to look over it, I can, or we can I would just say, for all of you, get it up, get it going this week, and then I can still put them in a Google Doc in our stream, and I'll look at it. But you can, once it's in the automation with Kit, then you can just tweak the emails instead of having to like wait for me, start fresh, get something in there, get it going, test it, and then we can tweak it as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the way Kit does is you, like, when they get that, then it will, kick off and go into a sequence. So it's not really too complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to feel differently about that. So keep that in mind, people. Yes. I used to be like, I don't get it.
You're like, Kit is horrible.
So
do you remember that? That was like literally like not even 3 months ago. And you're Kit is the worst thing ever. I'm struggling. Yeah. And look at you now.
And then all of a sudden it worked. So our point is, don't give up. You can learn.
Always. So dang good. But are you feeling good about that? I know I was like commandeering your coaching, and I was just kind of like, I just want to make sure I tell you this, and this would be good for the for the people of the Facebook group too.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, it feels good, and I can totally kick this out this afternoon and send my messages. I feel like I can do that.
Who is she? Let's go. I love this. Awesome. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
And now we've got Ilanka coming in hot. And I know I just coached you, so feel free to give a quick re-win, and then we can go again.
I just got off when you coached me, and I was like, dang it, I forgot to ask you something very specific. Yes. So here I am. So my win was just basically just being more organized than I typically am inside of my business after joining this mastermind. It's just sort of given me a fresh look on things that I've been doing inside of my business, and just doing it better and simplifying things even more. So that's amazing. My question is, so I write a weekly newsletter to my email list, and I don't have a massive email list, but I would like to improve the way that I do that, and obviously bring in consultations from my email list. What typically happens is consultations will come from workshops or webinars that I do, which is amazing, but I would like to be in a place where sending out the weekly newsletter also brings in those consultations. So I'm just wondering what you would suggest I do in those weekly newsletters. Do you have any sort of advice in terms of, obviously I have my weekly content going out on social media. I'm just wondering, how do you tie that back into, if I'm sending out a newsletter, like how do we connect those? Or, because right now I'm not doing like a long form content necessarily. I'm not doing my podcast currently, although I'm starting that up again later this week with the live coaching that I'm doing on there. So then I feel like I have content that I can, draw from. But at this point, it just feels like very tedious
to
write these emails. Yeah.
Well, and so what I like to do is I'm all about working smarter, not harder. You're already doing your posts of the week, right?
Yeah.
I take my 3 posts, the ones that build know, like, and trust, the cold, warm, and hot posts, and I take those 3 bad boys and I make a mishmash of the 3 for my weekly email.
Okay.
So here's what I like to do is, and my podcast is a derivative of the podcast, or my posts and email are a derivative during a non-launch period about the podcast of the week. So again, I'm like, I repurpose everything. I'm like, okay, we're going to take the podcast becomes the post becomes the email just goes out to the people. And that's how I like to run things. So I'm not recreating like a separate thing for my email list. That's a separate thing for my podcast. That's a separate thing for my post. I'm like that.
Yeah, I think
I was initially though.
Same. And I think because I initially did the podcast every week, I think I got up until like, I don't know, 100, almost 200 episodes. I felt like I had something to say every week, you know, because like the podcast was there. And then when I stopped the podcast, I was like, what am I saying? It's almost like what am I going to do? It's like I just drew a blank completely.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about like restarting it again. But obviously the next 12 episodes is going to be the one-on-one coaching sessions with this client, which obviously makes it like a very specific type of client. So I might just be speaking more to one of the avatars that I could be working with because just of the nature of her business and the challenges that she's going through. Although it's still very relevant to the other potential clients as well. But I think that makes a lot of sense. Just like looking at the content that I currently put out there and then just, because I'm like, I need to write something new every time. And it just feels like
it's a pain.
More work.
Oh yeah. And so what I would do is I know you're doing, and I don't want to make more work for you. So this is like not me saying that you're going to make more work for yourself, but I've got 2 options for you. With the podcast, you could do the live coaching calls as the only podcast, or you could double up. If you want to do, I'm like, let's give Alonka more work. Homeschooling children, I'm like, it's not enough. Let's do more.
I knew that was coming. And I was literally thinking about it.
Were you thinking about it too?
Yeah. Because it feels like, yes, it's more work, but it's work regardless, right? And it's like we're creating content. So I'm definitely not opposed to like doing the work. But I think now that I have my pillars and that's like very strong, and obviously like refining the content around that as well. And just like finding my voice in terms of how I speak about things, because I am very analytical, very practical. And I feel like if I'm not giving them like specific things to go and do, I'm not adding value.
Yeah.
So that has been really challenging for my brain. And which is one of the reasons why I think email has felt so hard, because I'm like, what am I saying to them if I'm just always inviting them to a consult? Like, it just feels like I'm always asking them to book something and I'm not actually giving value. So maybe I should just start it again, because it was actually easier doing the weekly content from there.
I think so too. And I've hinted this at Kylie, and I think I've talked with Kylie, Janae, and Kristen about
She's
this.
nodding along.
She's like, I see where this is going. I actually think that long form content is easier to repurpose into short form content or emails.
True.
So, and actually, Kylie, this has to do with your question. I'm sorry I missed that earlier. But so for me, what I do for each, and you don't need to go this hard, but if you are, again, you are creating intellectual property that the Chief Freedom Officer program could then like start getting derivatives of, you know what I mean? Like you can start thinking about, okay, especially if you have like over 100 episodes, almost 200, there's things in there that could be taught. So what I do is I even include a freebie with my email. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, like, I would say like a lot of work. It's like an hour extra of work a week.
Yeah.
So it's food for thought. Could be something you could add later, no pressure. But then, and I'm just going to show you what mine look. I'm going to give you 2 examples. So I'm just going to share my screen for a second, guys. I know I try and avoid doing this on the Facebook group calls, but I'll show you, Kylie, what my freebie looks like. So here are all the freebies for the podcast. And Michelle, obviously you do not need to go this hard with the freebies. I'm like, look at all these freebies. How cool is that though? It's like, it's a little bank of all these like awesome episodes. But what I do is I have the episode of the podcast at the top for every freebie. So it's like, here's the freebie, here's the episode, like, and then I have the information here. So you could do that if you wanted to, Kylie, for sure. As far as the freebie goes. And then here is, this is my old, I used to find it easier. Flowdesk, I think, is a little bit easier to navigate than FG Funnels, where I have my weekly email, not view results. I want to do view in browser. So in here, and I found out that if you have the video link, it can mess with your email list. So just be careful about that. Just include the button, not even the hyperlink. Kylie, like, so it's like whenever you, like, yeah, don't include like a link to click on like this. This also apparently can get you marked as spam. Which, good to know, right? So you want to have...
Good to know, and new, like, level of anxiety unlocked.
Well, and you know what? You are doing just fine. Clearly, you've been able to bring in people, like, with your email list as is, but I literally did the same thing, and I was like, oh, that's not great. And so videos, don't include videos, only include a button, and also don't include pictures. All these things that I was doing, because Flowdesk is so pretty, and I was like, oh my gosh, we gotta have the fun fonts, we gotta have like the pictures and stuff like that, and spam was what I was marked as, which is not ideal. So we just don't want to do that, so now you know. But yeah,
and that's interesting, because I remember the very first time I joined your email list, like, I think you were still doing one-on-one, I'm not sure, like it was a while back.
That was a long time.
And I remembered, like, and maybe it was with scaling or 6-figure systems or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But like, having the images in there, like I could see the images, and that really made me pay attention. Like I actually, so you're saying we shouldn't have images like that in our emails?
That's what they say. And that's so boring and annoying. But yeah, they say that can get you marked as spam.
Okay.
And that sucks, but it's okay. You can't win them all. And I personally, I'm like, okay, I get it. Oh, we don't want to. Okay, just don't edit this version. Actually, I'm going to change the hyperlink to, if you click here in the hyperlink and you change that word to copy, it'll force a copy instead of making it'll do this, Jazz.
Yeah.
Learn that in the pandemic teaching. Thank you. But we've got the, you can click on there and see the freebie too. But yeah, that was the unfortunate thing. That's what we had to switch now that we're in FG Funnels. But I'm actually over my maternity leave. We're switching my email list to ConvertKit. I'm actually meeting with a friend of mine on Monday to talk about like all the jazzy mishaps that have happened, because also even in FG Funnels, my emails are not, a lot of them are going to spam, and we don't know why. And I'm like, oh, fun. So
I'm also, that's interesting because I'm also using FG Funnels.
You are? Okay. Yeah. I'll let you know what happens with it.
Yeah.
Because like right now, especially because with the launch, I just want to make sure that I'm like sending as many emails as I possibly can to like be like, this is like literally your last chance to join before I go on maternity leave. Like you get 3 extra months of coaching if you want it, no pressure. But like if you were thinking about it, this is a really good time to get in and get some free extra stuff. Yeah. So I'm spending $10 a day on emails at least. And I think I spent $200 on a text message for yesterday that didn't work. So we're living our best lives. I'm like tweaking out. I'm like, it's fine. But yeah, so it's a kind of funky thing. But in any event, I do think that you doing your podcast episode and just having a button to the podcast, don't have the podcast episode itself. And then for the email, like in that email, I put it in the chat, or I put it in the notes for today, and I will also share the notes with you guys right now, and I'll share them in the Facebook group as well. But with the weekly email, I was like, I started running ads this year. This is my personal story. That's the cold post of the week. It's like I started running ads this year and realized that my copy could be way stronger. Then I talked about the 3 types of posts: problem aware, agitation, and solution aware. And then I say, here's this information, definitely join in. And then at the very bottom of the email, I have the link for Sally got 3 new consults and out of the dry spell, even with her house flooding. If that sounds like it's for you. And I have watched the video here because I was transitioning out of doing one-on-one coaching. But what I would do is say, book a consult here if you want something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then just one last question for the podcast. I would just, in essence, every week or for the month or whatever it is, I would be just speaking about a pillar. I will just pick a pillar and then, okay.
It's almost like with the webinars, so it's like, for every program, this is what I like to think about it, especially for the mastermind, but for 5-Figure Foundation, you're kind of like testing out pillars. You're like, I've got like 5 to 10 different things that we could talk about. But by the time you're in the mastermind, you've figured out, okay, these are like the 4 to 5 things that I think are going to be helpful. Sorry, we have cats running in our yard right now. And I'm like, hello, cat. ADHD on fire. Apologies, squirrel. Back in it. So for my email, dang it, cat. It took me off my game. I was just saying something about your email list.
We were talking about my podcast and the pillars, and then you said we test out pillars in 5-Figure Foundation. So sort of know what it is in Scaling Mastermind.
Oh God!
I mean, I'm not even pregnant, and that happens with me to me as well, so it's fine.
Well, I'm back. I'm with it now. Okay, so you have your pillars, and then each week you choose a pillar to talk about for all of your posts, and it's like a little bit of that pillar. So it's like my pillar for the week of the example I sent you was marketing, right? Mm-hmm. But then it was a very specific subset of marketing that was very much about copywriting, right? So that's how I kind of like built it's like a very small piece of it. So for you, that's what you're going to do your podcast and your email about, is going to be like for and I even gave you this example for your webinar about being profitable. It's like talking about the profitability in a like just one of the 3 steps could be a post that you could make a podcast, like about how you need to save, like you want to do the 15% rule or like something like that. It's like that could be a podcast and that could be a post.
Yeah. Okay.
Email.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. This is so good though. I think this is helpful for everybody to hear, just kind of like my thoughts about freebies, and then also about like how to make your email list really, really simple and easy. So awesome. And then we've got Kylie. Go ahead and give me a win. What's going on for you?
Okay. So I think as far as wins go, I feel like I'm becoming faster still at like social media posts. I'm not agonizing over them as much. It's like I just get it done, and good enough is good enough, and it's out there. So I'm not as organized as I'd like to be with it yet, but I'm faster.
Which we're going to get there. I really do feel like, so for me personally, I'm like, this year has not always been my best with organization, but I got the systems for it. Like along with saying, I'm like, I've got the systems for it, and we're going to take time to like get things organized, but I'd rather get something out and have a slightly disorganized back end that I know how to make organized later than not get something out and have a really beautiful organized back end.
Yeah, it's like you have to get over that perfectionism. That stalls me in so many ways of like, I want to do everything right. And so I don't do it at all. And I just have to let go of that. So
I love it.
all right. So here's my situation. I've got trying to get people enrolled for summer tutoring. I moved the webinar date on us, I think. So now it is going to be May 17th. It's a Sunday.
That's right.
And I have the webinar, and I created some freebies. I've never done a freebie before, so this is a first.
Love it.
And so this big push is happening. Like my first push is going to be like before June 1st. And then I'll do another push between July and August for like all the procrastinators like me that are like, oh, I better get my kids something right before school starts. So how do I, first of all, you can look at my webinar at some point. I put it in the portal, so we don't necessarily have to look at it now, but how do I use this freebie and the webinar like together, separately, whatever, to promote registration for summer?
Yes. So this is a great question. Now, and for me personally, this is the way I like to do my webinars and also how I like to kind of like launch things. So this is more of, again, like a scaling concept, but this is the way I like to do it. There are two ways. So if you were just doing a typical monthly sales event, which means a webinar, just getting a webinar out there, the way I like to do the marketing for that is I like to do 2 weeks of nurture content, then 1 week of webinar promo, then 1 week of bonus / freebie promo, bonus freebie / program, in your case, tutoring.
So that means like you start the freebie stuff after the webinar.
But
okay,
you can talk about it beforehand. So that's like a typical monthly sales event, which is what like I recommend for everybody in the mastermind to do one of those a month just to get something out there where you're like staying relevant, top of mind, like, hey, this is what we're doing.
I feel like you've had to go over this like 3 times with me in the last 3 weeks, but it's okay.
I genuinely don't think I have.
I'll get it eventually. Okay.
I actually do not think I have, Kylie. I think that like, because I would have remembered us going through this before, because the tricky thing is you were kind of doing a launch of a kind of mini group. So that's what I'm going to explain to you next. This is what I might have talked with you about before, is if you're launching something like a group program or like a special time sensitive thing, and I'll just put that in there, like,
So like it's seasonal. It's not a part of the overall program.
Then there are different ways that you can go about it. And I was just talking with one of the new masterminders about it. There's a lot of different ways that you can launch. And this is what we talked about before. So that's why I want to differentiate, and I want to let you choose which you think that this would fit best with, because it is technically time sensitive, but it also is just one-on-one. So you could go either way. When I'm launching a group or something that's time sensitive, I typically, and I go hard, so you know that, it's like I do 3 weeks of pre-launch where I'm sending an email and I'm doing an email post and reel every single day. And then I do 2 weeks of open cart where I go even harder and I do 3 emails, 3 posts, and 3 reels a day to just and get all the information out there about it.
I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
No, and that's what it's like. We've got to adapt it. We got to figure out what we want it to be. And nobody in my whole program does it this hard.
I'm getting faster, but you know we're gonna stay realistic here too. But go ahead and finish. So 3 posts, 3 emails.
It's intense. But again, like I was telling Elanka, I just repurpose the same stuff over and over again. So it's like if I'm doing the first email of today was why just getting a consult isn't enough to hit 6 figures. You need to have consistent consults to hit 6 figures. So that was the email, that was the post, and that was the reel. Everything was about that. And then
Gotcha.
the second post was something really good. I don't remember what it was, but you know what I mean? It's like, it was something like that. So it was like related in some way, shape, or form. So that's what I do during my launch. And I have like very specific ways of doing that. You can do 3 weeks of, and when I say pre-launch, it's pre-launch event, which is like a webinar to open up the cart and talk about it. Some of my clients do 1 week prior. They do the same monthly sales event flow where they do a webinar and then they do a 1 week of open cart. Sometimes people do 2 weeks of open cart, like 2 weeks of talking about the webinar beforehand and 2 weeks of open cart after.
I was going to say, I might could do a hybrid model, you know, and like that week right before the webinar, ramp it up a little bit.
That's what I'm thinking for you too. So I'm looking at my calendar, my handy dandy calendar. I'm like, I might need to restart my computer before our next call. It's like so slow and laggy right now. But with the month of May, if you're doing do you want to do 2 weeks of pre-launch pre-webinar, maybe is a better way to like think about it for this situation. Do you want to talk about the webinar on the 17th for 2 weeks or 1 week?
Probably, I may need to do it for 2 weeks because I just haven't had that much participation yet on things like that. So I think I need to talk about it more.
And I'm just going to call it like, and I'm going to call it Kylie's hybrid. 2 weeks pre-webinar. Instead of pre-launch, I'm going to call it pre-webinar. And then 2 weeks open cart. So that means that you do want to start talking about the webinar on the 3rd, if you like this upcoming week.
No, that's fine. Like this past week has been nurture. I sort of transitioned to summer learning this past week. So I've had 1 week of nurture going on.
And that's fine. And I think that like for you, you'll get like, I think we know where your business is going. We're going to get you more organized. We're going to get like there's an annual plan document that literally like almost everyone, I went through it with almost everyone except for Ilanka on last call about like what they're doing every month. And I think it helps to just see out the whole year and just be like, okay, here's where we're going. Here's what we're testing this month. I tried doing a week of nurture. Turns out that wasn't enough. Okay, now we need to do a little bit more nurture. I think you're in a unique situation where because you're marketing to parents, they're not.
It's like I'm not marketing to the people I'm working with necessarily.
Yes, yeah. I think this is a wise test for you. Like, I think that this is going to be like, and I'm just going to show you. I'm just like, just so you can see. But this is what I mean by like every month we were like choosing different topics for people for like what their webinars are going to be about. And then we get data from it. So I think I was like, Michelle, I hope it's cool if I'm like sharing this with the peoples, but it was like each month we've gotten data from her for a whole year and we test different things during the year. So we're like, okay, this month we tested a freebie instead of a webinar. This week we're testing this bonus. And that's actually how we chose her bonus for April, was because she did it back in March and it was like one of the best freebies that she tested.
I would be really interested to know like how much time or friction is there in gathering the data for your spreadsheets? Like just
we did that in 4 minutes.
Okay. I don't know how to do that in 4 minutes, but if you do that, it's great.
Oh yeah. For me, I'm like, I'm not going to putz around and spend an entire hour on this. I was like, and I think it helps when I ask you like the question. So I was like, okay, Jill, how many posts did you do for this webinar? Check it out right now. And she's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, just count real quick. And I was like, how many emails did you send? Okay, how many did you hear?
So, because I think that's a good like objection maybe in my mind is like, I can't handle any more work. But if it's...
I track it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm doing it with you on the calls typically because for me, I'm like, I need somebody, like, if somebody were like, I'm going to leave you to your own devices and you're going to have to get this data, I would say we're never going to get data. And that's kind of what last year was for me. I'm like, now me and my VA are time teaming it, but like,
yeah. If I have somebody on the other end typing it in and I'm looking it up, like we can handle that.
Yes,
I might actually accomplish that.
Well, I used to get big cities. I can't do it myself. I'm like, well, I'm not going to expect y'all to do that. Like, and then that gives us frame of reference every month when we write the next goal for the next month. And we're like, okay, like here, okay, messaging 500 people, unrealistic. We're not going to make that the goal this time, you know? Anywho, but so I think 2 weeks 2 weeks open cart is a great test. And I'm going to give you like a hybrid version of the thing I just sent to you. What is your goal for number of clients that you, and this is like the backwards design process. This is why we do this every month. How many clients do you want to sign in the summer sessions?
For me alone,
you know, I would love for you to do you alone because it's going to make you a little bit more profitable, but
yeah. So I want to get the other people some, but for me alone, I would love to have,
you told me 12.
15 to 20.
Let's do it. I bet you, and then again, this is what Ilanka and I were just talking about, is like having somebody to be like, what actually is your goal? Like, what actually is the goal for this?
I mean, that might be a little high because I'm serving about 9 right now, but maybe I could get to, 15, I think is very reasonable.
15 total or 15 more?
15 total.
Okay, good. I was like, just to clarify. So then we want 6 to 10 more clients?
Yeah.
6 to 11 more clients. I think that's very reasonable. So then we think about, okay, and again, I'm going to pull up Jill's or somebody's. Okay, and then I go backwards and I'm like, okay, how many consults would you need to get? Now I know for you, some of your people don't actually need a consult to buy. Some of these buy right away, right? Or
they do. Mm-hmm.
But
sometimes. But actually for this summer program, I'm requiring a consult.
Okay. So how many do you have an idea of what your conversion rate is right now? It's high.
Yeah, so we have a total of let's make the numbers kind of like we have a total, me and the math tutor, of about, I would say 12. We share some kids, like I do reading, she does math. So let's just say 10. I mean, just for easy, like 10, if I had 10 consults, I would have 1 or 2 people not sign up. That's the way it's been so far.
Okay, so 8, that's a great close rate.
Well, I think once they sign up for a consult, they're really like, I want to get tutoring for my kid.
Get the specifications. That's how it is a lot of times for some of the consults I do now. Like, unless it's like cold audience, it's so fun to do warm consults. So I think for you, we want to get you anywhere between, if you were to do 12 consults, or I'm trying to think about if you wanted 6 clients, let's aim for 12 consults.
Okay.
And if you get more, great. If not, no biggie. But then we at least have data. Then we're like, okay, I'm aiming to get 12 consults from this. How many emails do you want to send during the weeks of open cart?
Well, considering the fact I've hardly sent any emails so far, like it's, I maybe probably have sent 1 a month or something. My technical email list is just 25 right now. So it would be like DMs and emails, I'm sure. A combination.
That's actually like literally like the other category is DMs. So it's like DMs after, emails after. So I would recommend, personally, I would send more than one email a week for the week of open cart. Here's how I would do it for the emails after is what I typically say for the masterminders for the week of the open cart. It's typically the same exact emails. The first email is this is the bonus of the week, of the month, you can say. Then I have the next one is here's what happens on a consult or why booking a consult right now is the best time. And I'm typing this in here too, so if you need it. Now is the best time / what happens on a consult. And then I do frequently asked questions, bonus ends tonight. The 5 FAQs. And then for an open cart for something like a mastermind or like a bigger thing, I have a lot more emails that I send out. Like I do a cold, warm, hot post every day. That's how I flow it.
Okay.
So I would for sure start with those 3. And then I would maybe add some more. And I would probably sprinkle in 3 client case studies for you. But I would do like bonus case study, what happens on a consult, case study, 5 FAQs, case study. How do you feel about 6 emails? And I would do them.
Yeah, I'll just write them all at once and have them ready to go. So before the week.
And okay.
I guess I'll become faster at emails next.
Yeah, absolutely. So what? And like I would do like talk about doing a summer program. I know you've never done one before, but like why it's like the best time to do it. What is your freebie?
I was gonna do a 1-to-1 student success coach call in August, like to be used after school starts for the kid.
Thank you for reminding me. I do remember that. School student. Can we change the name of it? Do you have that written anywhere?
Absolutely, yeah. That's not anywhere.
Because they're already a student, and there are like student and success. I feel like are too redundant-ish, and I want to be like start the school year strong. Like something.
Yeah, it needs a better name for sure. But it would just be like instead of an academic tutoring call, it would be more of a generalized call about other things related to success in school.
Like what?
Like, so probably the 3 biggies would be, like studying or how to remember information, focus and organization.
Hold on.
Or like planning a big project. I mean, just like maybe whatever they were nervous about for that year, looking at that.
I think we standardize it.
Okay. What would you standardize for a kid in the first month of school? And I'm looking, I'm moving toward, I may have younger kids I do this with. So that's one really hard thing, is that there's an age range that you're working with. And I can like do a K2, 3, 5, 6, 12 option all under the same umbrella. But
I think because I know that you want to eventually make your offer organization, we make it something about organization. And I think that so one of the things that I think would have been helpful for me as someone with ADHD is for somebody to explain the flow, K-8. I think if somebody explained to me the flow of the school year, this is what it's going to look like for this teacher. This is going to be like what we're going to do. And teachers give them a syllabus, right? Mm-hmm. I think if somebody were to explain hey, let's take the syllabus that your teacher gives you, and they give syllabuses K-8, you can do parents included on calls K-3 or K-2, and you can have them it's okay, what you're going to do is your teacher is going to give you a syllabus. you're going to bring that syllabus to the call. And what we're going to do is we're going to set you up and we're going to do a study schedule. We're going to talk about the projects. We're going to talk about the expectations. This teacher, it sounds like they've got a lot of projects. Okay. So that means that every month we're going to need to set aside time for, step like this, X, Y, and Z.
Right. Yeah.
I think that would be so valuable. And it's like but something I would make it about the syllabus and talk about like syllabus organization and study skills, or like it's execution skills really. It's like
we can think about it. We can toy around with it.
But like that's
I'm terrible with heights.
Yeah, just think about that. But I think that would be really, really helpful because that also addresses projects and focus.
Okay.
And I would be like, every single year, your kids are given a syllabus and every teacher is different. It's not even just like a grade level specific thing. It's the way the teacher likes to run their classroom. So I can help you delineate from the new teacher and that new flow and start off strong. Something like that.
Yeah. And I maybe should even do it more like in September after do you think I should do it like after they've gotten to know their teacher a little and.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I think even though remember how we talked about like this is a really far bonus, I think as a parent, I would see the value in that if you explain that to me. And we're going to test it this year. And again, that's why I've got this whole document. I'm like, we test stuff every single month. So it's like, we're going to see if this brings it to them. But I would say, okay, so we've got the emails after, we're going to send DMs after. How many people would you like to come live?
Let's say 10.
Awesome. How many people, if you get 10, how many people would you
I've only
join?
had like 1 to 3 in the past. So.
Yeah, let's give it a try. If we wanted 10, how many people, when you had 1 to 3, how many people registered?
The same number. So if I get people to register, they come.
Okay, typically it's around 10%. So I'm like, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, we're talking about 1 to 3 people,
But still, that's great. So let's have a goal to get 15 people to register.
Okay.
How many DMs would you need to send in order to get 15 people to register?
$150 probably.
Let's do it. How many posts would you need to do?
And hate numbers, by the way, just in case.
But you're doing great, and I don't think you hate numbers.
This makes my anxiety go.
But I don't think you hate numbers. I think that you're gonna start loving numbers.
Okay.
Because you're gonna do 2 weeks of posts, we're gonna do 2 weeks of emails, which is 3. So it's gonna be 6 posts before, emails before, 6 emails. And I would do 1 webinar is coming, and I would do this like this. And I'm gonna but this is gonna be week. I'm just gonna color code them all for you. So just so you're like, this looks crazy. This is why it looks crazy. Just to clarify in here, if anyone's looking at this, they're like, what is going on in here? This is why. Okay, so we'll do webinars coming, what you'll learn at the webinar, case study you'll do next week, and then you'll do repeat these for the posts, and then you'll do bonus for is upcoming summer sessions are starting case study.
Okay.
And those will be the posts that you duplicate to emails. But then we're good. Oh, and then you also want to do like webinar starting. starting in 1 hour. And the bonus one will be the day of the webinar.
Okay. And I wanted to do some long form, but like 10 minutes or less. I don't want to, I've kind of neglected my YouTube a little bit lately. So if I do like a 10-minute YouTube, the same as the post, the same as the email. Okay.
Awesome. All right. I love you, lady. I will see you on the next call. Let me know if you guys have any questions about joining the mastermind or any of those bad boys. And I will see you guys, and I'll see you in an hour. Bye, everybody.